The steel shovel bit into the earth with a vengeance that matched the fury burning behind Marcus Holloway's eyes. Sweat dripped down his forehead, cutting clean lines through the dust and dirt that had accumulated during hours of relentless digging. This wasn't just landscaping. This was revenge, meticulously planned and legally executed. For 3 years, Karen Simmons had been the neighborhood's most notorious nightmare. A real estate agent by profession and a menace by disposition, she seemed to believe the entire street existed solely for her convenience. Her massive pearl-white Mercedes SUV, the vehicle that looked more like a mobile monument to her ego than actual transportation, had become Marcus's personal tormentor. The first few times she blocked his driveway, Marcus had been patient. He'd leave polite notes, make cordial phone calls, and even attempted to discuss the issue at the neighborhood association meetings. Each attempt was met with Karen's trademark dismissive laugh, a sound that seemed to suggest anyone inconvenienced by her actions was beneath her consideration. But today was different. Today, Marcus had reached his breaking point. It had started that morning just like countless mornings before. Marcus needed to take his elderly mother to her weekly medical appointment, a crucial routine that kept her managing her ongoing heart condition. When he walked out to move his car, there it was, Karen's gleaming SUV, parked diagonally across his driveway, blocking any possible exit. The medical center was 30 minutes away, and his mother's appointment was in 45 minutes. "I'm sorry, Mom," Marcus had said, his voice tight with restrained anger. "We might be late." His mother, Eleanor, had simply patted his hand. She knew of her son's temper, had witnessed its slow burn throughout his life. "Some people," she muttered, "only understand a language that speaks louder than words." Those words echoed in Marcus's mind as he continued digging. He wasn't just creating a trench, he was crafting a statement. Each shovelful of dirt was a testament to his determination, a physical manifestation of his resolve to reclaim his property rights. The neighborhood watched, a mix of curiosity and apprehension spreading like wildfire. Marcus could feel their eyes, some judging, some anticipating, some quietly cheering. In a community long terrorized by Karen's entitled behavior, he was becoming an unexpected hero. His plan was audacious but meticulously researched. Every action would be documented, every move calculated to remain within the strict boundaries of local ordinances and property laws. He consulted lawyers, studied municipal codes, and prepared a defense that would make Karen's typical bullying tactics crumble. A drawbridge, not just any makeshift contraption, but a professionally engineered, fully functional access point that would transform his property line into an impenetrable fortress. Engineering precision met legal cunning, and Marcus was its architect. As the first section of the trench took shape, a neighbors watching began to whisper. Something unprecedented was happening. A peaceful rebellion against neighborhood tyranny was about to unfold. Marcus allowed himself a small, determined smile. Karen had no idea what was coming. The city planning office was a labyrinth of bureaucratic procedure, but Marcus Holloway navigated it with the precision of a surgical instrument. Spread across the wide oak table were meticulously drafted blueprints, each line, each measurement a calculated step towards his ultimate goal. Roger Daniels, the senior city planner with 42 years of municipal experience, adjusted his thick-rimmed glasses and studied the documents. His weathered fingers traced the detailed schematics of Marcus's proposed driveway modification, a mix of skepticism and intrigue dancing in his eyes. "It's unconventional," Roger muttered, "but not illegal." Marcus had spent weeks preparing for this moment. He consulted structural engineers, researched local property ordinances, and compiled a portfolio that would make even the most stringent bureaucrats sit up and take notice. The drawbridge wasn't just a whimsical revenge fantasy, it was an engineering marvel that would technically comply with every single municipal regulation. The plans showed a sophisticated hydraulic system, complete with reinforced steel supports, automated safety mechanisms, and a design that would effectively prevent any unauthorized vehicle from crossing his property line. Each component had been carefully considered, each detail meticulously documented. Karen had no idea the hornet's nest she was about to disturb. Back home, Marcus's mother, Eleanor, watched the preparations with a mixture of amusement and pride. She remembered her son as a child, always strategic, never impulsive. The neighborhood bully who had stolen his lunch money in 3rd grade had learned that lesson the hard way when Marcus had systematically exposed his petty theft to the school administration, resulting in a permanent record that followed the boy through his academic career. "You've always been one to play the long game," Eleanor would say, bringing Marcus a glass of iced tea as he pored over his documents. The neighborhood was abuzz with speculation. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some thought Marcus was building some elaborate security system. Others whispered about a potential lawsuit. Karen remained blissfully unaware, continuing her routine of casual property violations and neighborhood intimidation. Marcus's lawyer, Sarah Chen, had been particularly impressed with his approach. Most people would file a complaint or call the police, she told him during their last consultation. But you're creating a systemic solution that addresses the root of the problem. The city planning office would require a series of inspections and approvals. Each step was another opportunity for Marcus to demonstrate the legality and ingenuity of his plan. He knew Karen would fight back, she always did, but he was 10 steps ahead. As the sun set on another day of preparation, Marcus reviewed his timeline. The trench was nearly complete. The hydraulic system was being custom fabricated. Permits were working their way through the labyrinthine city bureaucracy. Karen Simmons had blocked his driveway for the last time, and she was about to learn that some people don't just get mad. They get systematically, legally, brilliantly even. The first official confrontation came on a crisp Tuesday morning with Karen Simmons strutting up Marcus' property line in 6-inch Jimmy Choo heels that seemed more suited to a cocktail party than a property dispute. "What in the world are you doing?" she demanded, her voice a mix of shrill indignation and practiced real estate agent condescension. Marcus stood perfectly calm, his blueprint folder tucked under one arm, a series of official city permits prominently displayed. The partially excavated trench behind him looked like something between an archaeological dig and a military engineering project. "Good morning, Karen," he responded with calculated politeness. "I'm making some legal modifications to my property access." She stepped closer, those expensive heels teetering on the edge of the freshly dug trench. Up close, Marcus could see the layers of professional makeup barely concealing her mounting frustration, her usual tactics of intimidation. The ones that had worked on countless neighbors were failing spectacularly. "This looks like some kind of joke," Aaron snapped. "You can't just dig up your entire property line." Marcus simply pulled out a thick folder. "Actually, I can. And I have. Each of these," he tapped the permits, "is an official document from the city planning office. Every single modification has been approved." What Karen didn't know, what she couldn't possibly understand, was the months of preparation that had gone into this moment. Marcus had documented every single time she had blocked his driveway. Photographs, timestamps, witness statements from neighbors who had grown tired of her behavior. Each piece of evidence had been carefully compiled, notarized, and submitted alongside his modification plans. The neighborhood had become an impromptu audience. Curtains twitched, front doors were slightly ajar, smartphones were discreetly recording. Marcus's mother, Eleanor, watched from the living room window, a knowing smile playing on her lips. Sarah Chen, Marcus's lawyer, had prepared him perfectly for this moment. "Let her talk," she advised. "The more she says, the more she'll reveal herself." True to form, Karen couldn't help herself. "Do you have any idea how much these modifications will affect property values?" she screeched, her real estate agent persona slipping into full gear. Marcus remained unflappable. "Interestingly," he said, pulling out another document, "I had 3 independent appraisers evaluate the potential impact. They've all confirmed that a security-enhanced property access point actually increases property value in our neighborhood." Each word was a calculated blow. Marcus wasn't just defending his property, he was dismantling Karen's ability to bully and intimidate. The hydraulic system for the drawbridge was being installed next week. The trench was nearly complete, and every single action was meticulously, legally sound. Karen's face had transformed from angry red to a pale, splotchy white. For the first time in years, someone was not just standing up to her. Someone was systematically destroying her ability to manipulate the neighborhood. "This isn't over," she hissed, those expensive heels clicking a retreat. Marcus watched her go, knowing full well it was, in fact, just beginning. The neighborhood had always been a delicate ecosystem of unspoken tensions and polite facades. Marcus's ongoing confrontation with Karen was about to become the catalyst that would shatter those fragile social agreements forever. Within days of the initial confrontation, Karen launched her counteroffensive. She began a systematic campaign of harassment that would have broken a less determined man. Anonymous complaints to the Homeowners Association, repeated calls to city planning, even attempts to rally other neighbors against Marcus's outrageous property modifications. But Marcus had anticipated every move. Roger Daniels from the city planning office became an unexpected ally. Each of Karen's complaints was meticulously documented and systematically dismissed. Her frivolous reports only served to strengthen Marcus's case, creating a paper trail that demonstrated her pattern of harassment. It was Martha Jenkins, the neighborhood's longest residing homeowner, who first broke the unspoken code of silence. 82 years old and sharp as a tack, she appeared on Marcus's doorstep one Saturday morning, her walker clicking against the concrete. "I've been watching this neighborhood for 56 years, Martha announced, her voice crackling with suppressed fury. "And I've seen people like Karen destroy community spirit piece by piece." She proceeded to share stories, dozens of them, about Karen's previous infractions. The time she blocked an ambulance during a medical emergency, her habit of reporting neighbors for minor landscaping violations while her own property code violations went unchecked, the way she manipulated property sales, pushing out longtime residents to maximize her real estate commissions. Marcus listened, carefully recording each account. What had started as a personal vendetta was transforming into something larger, the community's collective pushback against years of systematic bullying. The Drawbridge project continued. Hydraulic systems were installed with military-like precision. The trench, now a sophisticated access control point, looked less like a DIY project and more like a professional security installation. Each day brought Marcus closer to his ultimate goal. Karen's response was predictable. She began parking her Mercedes more aggressively, sometimes partially blocking not just Marcus's driveway, but those of neighboring properties. It was a desperate move, a final attempt to assert her perceived dominance. But the neighborhood was changing. Inspired by Marcus's methodical resistance, other residents began documenting their own interactions with Karen. A shared digital folder started circulating, evidence of years of intimidation collected with legal precision. Eleanor Holloway watched her son with a mixture of pride and amusement. "Your grandfather would have loved this," she told Marcus one evening. He always said true justice is patient and strategic. The hydraulic system for the drawbridge was a marvel of engineering. Designed to be both functional and symbolic, it represented more than just a property modification. It was a statement, a line drawn in the concrete, a declaration that some people would no longer be pushed around. As the sun set on another day of preparation, Marcus reviewed his plans. Karen had no idea what was coming, but the neighborhood was ready. The tipping point had been reached, and there was no turning back. The morning arrived with an electric tension that seemed to crackle through the neighborhood like static electricity. Marcus had spent weeks preparing, but today was different. Today, everything would change. At precisely 7:15 a.m., Karen's pearl-white Mercedes approached Marcus's property. Her typical aggressive driving style was in full display, cutting corners, ignoring stop signs, positioning her vehicle with the confidence of someone who believed rules were mere suggestions. But this time was different. As she attempted to block Marcus's driveway, something unexpected happened. The newly installed drawbridge system activated with surgical precision. Hydraulic mechanisms hummed to life, steel reinforcements emerged from the carefully excavated trench, and Karen's Mercedes found itself perfectly legally contained. The neighborhood watched in collective, breathless anticipation. Sarah Chen, Marcus's lawyer, had been instrumental in ensuring every single action was not just strategic, but impeccably legal. The drawbridge was more than a physical barrier. It was a precisely engineered solution that met every municipal code, every property regulation. Cameras, strategically placed and fully disclosed, began recording. Each moment documented, each action transparent. "What is this?" Karen screamed, her Mercedes trapped mid-maneuver. The hydraulic system had been designed with multiple safety features, preventing any potential damage to her vehicle while simultaneously rendering it completely immobilized. Marcus emerged, clipboard in hand, a calm demeanor that spoke volumes. "Good morning, Karen," he said coolly. "I believe we need to discuss your repeated violations of my property access." The accumulated evidence was overwhelming. Years of blocked driveways, harassment, intimidation, all meticulously documented. Martha Jenkins stood nearby, along with several other neighbors, each holding thick folders of their own documented interactions with Karen. What Karen didn't realize was that this was no longer just about Marcus. It was about a community that had finally found its collective voice. Roger Daniels from the city planning office arrived, accompanied by 2 municipal officers. They reviewed the documentation, inspected the drawbridge system, and confirmed what Marcus already knew. Everything was completely, unequivocally legal. Eleanor Holloway watched from her living room window, a proud smile playing on her lips. Her son had done more than defend his property. He had restored his sense of justice to a neighborhood long held hostage by intimidation. The local news would later describe it as the Drawbridge Incident, a moment when a single resident's strategic resistance became a community's collective statement against harassment. Karen's real estate license was about to face its most significant challenge. The accumulated evidence would prove to be more than just a personal dispute. It was a comprehensive record of systematic misconduct. As the municipal officers began their initial investigation, Marcus remained calm. This was never about revenge. This was about boundaries. This was about respect. The drawbridge stood as a monument to what could be achieved through patience, preparation, and an unwavering commitment to doing things the right way.